Boom. Hey, folks, how's everyone doing other than being poorly lit? It's a whole day today, so if you're only here for 2 minutes and you can only get like a 2-minute summary of today, here we go. The summary goes like this. Lucky Loughran is, I'm not sure how to pronounce it properly, is probably the sweetest, purest human being on the planet and must be protected from all, anybody who would hassle him, including the free Karen Reed crowd, as well as the anti Karen Reed crowd, because we got to hear some things. So, Lucky is my favorite witness so far and will probably remain my favorite witness. And I don't just mean like in this trial. I mean in every trial that I've covered, Lucky is absolutely the best. Like he's so I guess let's talk about that. We're gonna go ahead and I guess have a look at this. So the other thing I will mention is I don't know if I've mentioned it recently, but there's going to be a Runkle meetup coming up in July. And it'll be July 12th at the Craft on in False Creek in Vancouver. So if you're in the area, come hang out, come join me. I see, is anyone else getting audio popping? I hope not. I hope not. So yeah. Maybe that will have fixed it. I don't know. So hopefully everything is fine. And I guess let's dive right in. We got, what do you call it? I'm just finishing this. And then moving on to, for the, in honor of today, we're just going to have that. And somebody says, Runkle, did you eat supper? I, kind of. So let's go on here and have a look. I just got to pull this up so that I can share it properly without creating a share loop. All right. So this one is a really interesting day today. So we start off with sort of a lengthy break, but we're gonna go to we're gonna skip Lucky's introduction of himself because he sort of spends some time explaining that he spends some time explaining who he is and what he does. Now, for the people who don't know who he is and what he does, Lucky is a snowplow driver, and he drives the Franken truck. And the Franken truck is, it's a big old truck. So let's have a watch here of all of this. And I got to set a grift goal. So our starting goal will be for a story. This one is going to be for a story as opposed to me actually doing the spice challenge, and I'll explain why. So, grilled cheese. That is awesome. Thank you everyone for the well wishes last night. I think the LSAT went well today. I really hope that I hope you nailed it. So let me know. All right, let's bring this up. And here we go. And boom, there we go. All right.
Of you, if you could just familiarize yourself with them and look up at me when you're done. Do you recognize what is depicted in those photos?
Yes, I do.
And did you take those photos
I did.
at my request?
Yes.
What do those photos depict?
They depict the inside of truck 30 or Franken truck.
And is there one that actually depicts?
I love that. Of truck 30 or Franken truck. I really hope Franken truck has like some really awesome airbrushing, because that would be cool. I somehow doubt it. I somehow suspect that Franken truck just looks fairly similar to the other trucks, but if I had the power, I would go out there and airbrush something cool onto Franken truck to be like, yes, this is Franken truck. Okay.
The outside from the front as well?
Yes.
Do those photos fairly and accurately depict Franken truck as it looked on or about January 29th of 2022?
Yes.
I would offer those, Your Honor.
I have no objection to any of the photos.
All right, thank you.
Perhaps they could be marked with the next exhibit number A through D.
Yes. And once that's done, you can feel free to publish.
Thank you very much.
Exhibits 211A through 211D.
Thank you. And with the court's permission.
Lucky actually looks really Lucky looks really dapper. I like his suit. I like his tie. Lucky's looking good. He's got it all going on there.
Permission, Mr. Wolf, if you would publish them one at a time in the order we discussed. I imagine that is 211A, Madam Court Reporter.
Ms. Gianetti, why don't you take the photo so you'll know?
So Franken truck does look pretty cool, but it needs like something cool painted on the side doors.
Oh, great idea. Okay, could you explain what 211A depicts to this jury?
That is the front of truck 30, Franken truck. And it's depicting the two mirrors on the right and left side of the fenders.
Okay. What about the next one, please, Mr. Wolf? Can you identify, this is 211B, sir.
Yes, that's the inside of the Franken truck looking out the windshield.
As if you were seated in the driver's seat?
Correct.
Next photo, please. This is 211C. What does this depict?
This is depicting on the range that I would see seated in the front seat, looking out the windshield and depicting how much I'll be able to see.
Okay, and this would be more toward the left side in front of you as you're seated in the driver's seat?
Correct.
All right, next photo, please. This is 211D. Could you explain this to the jury?
Again, I'm sitting in the front seat of the Franken truck and I'm taking a picture out the right side of the windshield, again, depicting on how much I can see out it.
Thank you. Okay, we can take those down to the left.
So what we're seeing here is that Franken truck is actually a huge, like it's a great big truck, and it's got huge visibility. Now, I'm going to guess that this is actually a line of questioning that I thought Brennan should get into, which is that Franken truck is also going to have a great big gap in visibility by the, like close to the truck, right? Because it's a big, tall truck. You could probably stand. You could probably stand next to Frankentruck and be hard to see. But something that is, out some distance away, totally can see it, right? So, that's worth noting. It's gonna have a blind spot, but it's also gonna have a great visibility at distance. So, yeah.
Again, depicting on how much I can see out it.
Thank you. Okay, we can take those down and put the lights on. Okay, so you previously testified that you got to the garage about 2:15 a.m. on January 29th. Could you explain to the jury what do you do when you get there at 2:15 a.m.?
So at 2:15,
What do you
we
do
do
here?
a simple circle check to make sure that there are no defects with the truck. We go ahead and we make sure it has plenty of diesel. And then I put, any supplies that I may have for the night, planning on an overnight shift. And then I get in the truck and I proceed to my route.
And what type of supplies are you talking about, sir?
Any types of drinks, food, anything, snacks.
Preparing for a long night?
Yes.
I really want to know what kind of snacks he likes. Now, my understanding is that Lucky does not want anybody reaching out to him, and that includes people who like Lucky. Just leave him alone. Yeah, I understand people tried to set up a GoFundMe, and he turned the that he turned down the money that which just goes to show this is a guy who is this is a guy who's just an absolute sweetheart, right? But he doesn't want he never wanted this attention. He never wanted any of this sort of stuff. So as much as I think it would be as much as I'm sort of going, we like this guy, I don't think he would want us to send him snacks. So I just have the thought, and then I'm like, but we can't send him snacks. But I'm curious, what's he got in there? Has he got energy drinks? Has he got, all of these things? I'm just, I'm super curious because, yeah. All right. Back we go, and I'm uploading a thing to show you guys later. So, yep. That'll be for a future goal. There we go.
The circle check, does that mean what it sounds like, where you sort of take a circle around the vehicle?
Yes, we're trying to make sure that the truck is safe, that there is no defects that would hinder the job ahead of it of being able to plow.
And when you did the circle check in those early morning hours, was there anything unusual that you found?
None.
Were you comfortable driving the snowplow that night?
Yes.
And you mentioned that you make sure it's filled with diesel fuel so you're good for the night.
Correct.
Now, what lighting is there on the truck facing outward?
I have 4 lights. I have the initial headlights, and then I have 2 plow lights that are on either side of the fenders. And then I have marking lights.
This is
And then
Yannetti.
I have work lights in the back for the sander.
Okay. If you recall the one photo that showed the truck from the outside, were the 2 plow lights visible in that photo?
Yes, they were.
Were the headlights visible in that photo?
Yes, they were.
Can we display that one more time, Your Honor, to have him point that out? Is there a pointer there, sir?
No, there is not.
Okay. Could you describe on 211
Is there a pointer there? And he's like, nope.
A where those plow lights are?
Plow lights are just above the grill on the right side and left side.
Okay. And would it be fair to say the plow lights appear to be a clear lens and then an orange lens on either side?
Yes.
And the headlights, sir, where are those located?
They are to the right and left of the grill, and they're underneath.
Okay. And those are located just to the right of the grill in terms of as we're looking at 211A?
Yes.
Okay. We can take that down and put the lights back on. Now, Do you recall whether or
If
not
stuff like this
right
goes
back.
for a walk.
You also mentioned marking lights. Where are those?
Marking lights are on the top of my truck, along with the beacon light on top of the truck.
And what is a beacon light?
Beacon light is exactly what it looks like.
So basically, Lucky starts off with, this truck has the best visibility of any truck ever, and it's got huge lights, and I can see for days in this thing. It's, for no, Sherry, do not start a fund, do not anything. Leave it. He's like, I can see for days out of this thing. Okay, let's jump ahead a little bit here.
The Alberts growing up?
Mostly with Chris, but I was cordial with the boys.
All right. And when you entered Fairview Road from Cedar Crest for the first time on your route, would 34 Fairview be on your right or your left?
On my right.
And can you give the jury your best estimate of when or what time was it when you first encountered 34 Fairview Road on January 29th of 2022?
About 2:40, 2:45
That would be AM?
a.m.
And when you were passing 34 Fairview Road or encountering it at that point, what did you know about who lived there?
I knew the Alberts lived there, and I knew that Brian Albert was a police officer, first responders.
Now, aside from the lighting on your truck, were you aware of whether there were any street lights in the area of 34 Fairview?
Yes.
Could you describe those?
Sure. There's one before you get to 34 Fairview driveway, and there's one after Fairview's driveway.
Do you have a memory as to whether or not those street lights were working on January 29th of 2022?
I do not have a memory of that.
But in any case, how much of the lighting of your Franken truck was illuminated at that time?
All my lights were working.
So
Lucky is also he just does not care who's asking him questions. He just doesn't. He's here. He's going to answer questions. He's going to answer them honestly. And this is the kind of witness that you just can't shake because he's just, yeah. I see. Bring us Betterow. I don't have Betterow locked in my basement or anything. He's got like a life of his own. So yeah.
you're now driving up Fairview Road, and 34 Fairview's on your right. Taking into account the lighting conditions that existed, especially on your truck, how much of the front lawn of 34 Fairview could you see?
I could see all the way to the front door.
What obstructions were there at the time when you first passed the Alberts residence?
None.
Were you familiar with the area of the flagpole on the left side of the property?
Yes.
Now, when you are plowing, sir, where is your attention focused?
My attention is focused out the front window, to the right and to the left.
Why?
I am looking for pedestrians. I'm looking for residents that may be backing out, not aware that I'm there, and God forbid, animals.
I think this is the same way he said it before, but I love that Lucky is like, I don't want to run over a pedestrian. I don't want to run over a person, but I really don't want to run over somebody's dog. I'm like, I totally get that he's just like, I don't even more than anything else, I don't want to run over a dog. Like people, I don't like people so much, but the dog.
How much of the time that you're plowing are you scanning the road?
All the time.
Now, as you were passing 34 Fairview, could you see the area of the flagpole at 2:45 in the morning, sir?
Yes.
What was on the ground on the Alberts lawn at that point in the area of the flagpole?
Nothing.
Did you see a 6'1"?
That was the big thing. You could see everything. What was on the lawn? Nothing. Now, Brennan's going to try to suggest that this guy is lacking observation, and I don't think it lands. I think Brennan Brennan tries his best with this guy. Brennan tries his best, and Lucky is unshakable. Lucky is a rock. Lucky is a brick wall of, I'm just here to tell the truth, and I don't care what happens. Yeah.
216-pound man lying on that lawn?
No.
Now, after plowing Fairview with the Alberts residence to your right, what do you do?
I go to the very end, take a left on the Chapman Street, back down Chapman Street, and then take a left back onto Fairview.
And are you plowing the whole time?
Yes.
So you get to, in this diagram, Exhibit 49, we don't have to turn the lights off. I think we can see it. You're traveling in a down direction, correct?
Correct.
And you would hit Chapman Street. Is that fair to say that's at the bottom?
Correct.
Do some type of three-point turn and go back down Fairview?
Yes.
How long does it take you to get from 34 Fairview the first time to get to Chapman Street?
Maybe 5-10 minutes.
And then how long does it take you to get from Chapman Street back down so that you're now passing 34 Fairview again?
Again, about 5-10 minutes.
And when you're coming back down, what side of the road is 34 Fairview?
On my left.
When you pass 34 Fairview at that time, are there any obstructions preventing you from seeing the front lawn?
None.
Was there any difference in the lighting on your truck when you were coming back down?
No.
Where is your attention focused when you're passing 34 Fairview on your left?
Again, out the front, right and left.
And how much of that front lawn are you able to see on 34 Fairview when you're coming back down from Chapman?
I can see everything. I can see right up to the front door.
What did you see on the front lawn of 34 Fairview?
He's like, I have the eyes of God when I'm sitting up there. It is, he's like, I can see Spain. Yeah.
On January 29th of 2022, when you're making the second pass by 34 Fairview in the area of the flagpole.
I saw nothing.
All right. Now, you've made an up and down pass, sir, correct?
Yes.
Once you pass 34 Fairview for that first up and down pass, where do you go?
I then go do Spring Lane, and I do that top and bottom.
And is there a point in time when you come back to the area of Fairview Road?
Yes.
That second time now that you're coming back, I'm counting the up and down pass as the first time.
Okay.
You with me?
Yep.
That second time now that you're coming back, about how long is it after the first time?
About 45 minutes.
So now it's about what time that you're coming for the second time to this area?
3:30.
And when you...
All right. So let's jump ahead a little bit here. Not too far. And we're going to jump to here.
Take the right onto Fairview. Describe to the jury what you see in the road at that point.
As I make my right onto Fairview, I notice that there's a vehicle on the right-hand side, roughly in the area of the flagpole in front of 34 Fairview.
Okay. And did you make note of what type of vehicle that was?
Yes,
What type of vehicle was that?
a Ford Edge.
What direction was that vehicle parked when you saw it?
It was parked nose going up Fairview.
Toward Chapman.
Yes,
So you're coming up from behind it.
correct.
You see the rear of that vehicle?
Yes,
And was it parked adjacent to the Albert property, or was it across the street from the Albert property?
adjacent to the Albert family.
And how close to the area of the flagpole was that Ford Edge parked at 3:30 in the morning?
I can't give you an exact measurement, but looking at the front door, it was about 3 feet to the left of the front door in the area of the flagpole. So in between the front door and the flagpole.
Now, what caused you to remember that there was a Ford Edge parked at 3:30 outside the Albert's residence that night?
For as long as I can remember, they have never parked a vehicle in front of their house. They've always had enough ample parking in the driveway.
What policies or protocols of the
So he's like, I noticed because it's unusual and I know these people, but this is the other really interesting bit here. This I thought was really interesting.
DPW are in force when vehicles are parked on the street or the road during a snow emergency?
There is no parking allowed. We are supposed to notify our supervisor when there is a vehicle in the way. At that point, the supervisor will make attempt to call the resident or have the police show up at the resident. And then if they can't get the car removed, the car gets towed.
Sir, did you follow protocol that night?
I did not.
Why not?
Knowing the Albert family, knowing that there was a first responder, I gave them respect and opted not to follow procedures.
He's like, I'm supposed to call it in and get vehicles towed if people park on the street during these snowstorms, but I wasn't going to get a cop's car towed. I respect cops tremendously. I respect law enforcement. I wasn't going to do that. And he also does the Albert specifically a favor. So
How did the presence of that Ford Edge parked on the side of the road affect your direction of travel?
I had to go around the vehicle.
How did you maneuver around it?
I had to maneuver to the left, go up, and then maneuver back right into my lane, and then continue up Fairview.
And at any point when you were maneuvering to the left and then angling back to the right, could you see part of the front lawn of the Alberts?
Yes.
Were you able to see any part of the area around the flagpole?
Yes, as I maneuvered back right.
And when you maneuvered back right and saw that area, what, if anything, did you see on the ground in the area of the flagpole?
I saw nothing.
All right. So now you've passed 34.
And, you'd think he would see these things, right? All right, let's jump ahead. We're gonna, he gets handed over to Brennan. Brennan tries his best. So let's jump to the cross, because the cross starts off interesting here.
All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready.
And I know you guys hate seeing Brennan, but we gotta cover the cross. But first, I'm going to cover the. I promised you guys the story of Runkle tries a spicy thing. So ages ago, I bought this cup noodle thing, like this, kind of like a Mr. Noodles kind of cup. But and I thought, I'm gonna do like an on-stream tasting of this spicy, because it's like one of those things that says it's like a spice challenge thing. And then I forgot about it. And today I was hungry. I was just feeling a snack. Like I was feeling like I needed a snack. And so I was looking in the cupboards going, hey, I need to find this. And I saw this noodle thing. Is it a Korean spice one? No, that one's actually not bad. So I made the instant noodle, and I was just gonna eat it and be like, all right, we're gonna be good. And then I tasted it, and it was pretty spicy, but still edible. The problem is that I'm pretty sure they thought nobody could eat it because it's so spicy. And so it just tasted like feet. And I'm not into that. So I ended up having to pour it out because it was spicy, but it tasted disgusting. I was like, why? And this is the problem when you like really spicy things, because when you like really spicy things, a lot of the time the like super spicy stuff does not taste good. I sort of have a rule these days that when I go order wings, I typically don't order the hottest wings on the menu. And the reason why is because usually the chef can't eat them and they just don't taste good. So, yeah. All right, let's cover the super chats here before we go on to the cross. Alicia, thank you for the membership. Thank you. Terrorized, don't forget Isaac Baruch from the Depth Trial. He's a favorite too. I'll go back and watch his testimony every once in a while. Yeah, he's solid too. Rain Man says, drink a lucky for lucky. We're doing so. M, thank you for the membership. Much appreciated. Kimchi says, me and my dog say hello. She also says, rub my tummy. It's cute when they do that. Rolling along, thank you for the YouTube membership. Much appreciated. Rainman says, I should tell you sometime about Frank and Otter. All right. Nancy Drewby says, love your recaps. We need to vent regarding Brennan and the way this court operates. Yeah, I think people are not going to like Brennan today. Page Q, Hank's questioning was foul pigeon business. He was actually gentler than he could have been. Helen Nichols, awake in the UK due to pain. Thanks for the company. I'm sorry, Helen. Tony P. Lucky may have been more formidable than Dr. Russell. I think he is. Lucky just, I don't think Lucky is able to, I don't think Lucky's able to lie, like if he wanted to. Tough Cookie, I always support story time. Thank you. Brentwood Cheek, Lucky seems like a good, solid man. Wishing him nothing but the best going forward. Absolutely. E. Warner, getting the car, Elizabeth, for the animals safe from Lucky because he loves them. Yes. Dr. Vez from Quebec City, snowplows here are way bigger than the Franken truck. Friend of mine from Switzerland was flabbergasted last Christmas. Yeah, but you're out in Quebec. Stacy Labruno, he who controls the spice controls the universe. True. Andrea Wallace, Lucky is wholesome, just like Ruggles' laugh. Well, I don't think it's that. I don't think my laugh is that wholesome. Laura Leanne, thank you for the YouTube membership. Claire, I just can't put aside that Lucky would have been the fall guy, and I doubt he could have put up the fight Karen Reed has. Yeah, it could have been. And Lucy. Thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. Mildred Katie, so the noodle cup had negative flavor. It did. And Darla Shannon, thank you for the new membership. All right, I think I need another goal, and then we'll go and watch the cross-examination. The new goal is going to be new nature cam help Runkle ID. I've got a new nature cam clip, and I need your help determining what I'm looking at, because I think I know what I'm looking at, but I'm wanting to know if somebody, if somebody's got, some feelings there. Emotional Lemonade. I respect the Law 2 Bestie clan, but EDB actually said the words, I empathize with Brennan here during one point during Lucky's cross. I mean, I can see it. I wouldn't want to be Brennan having to cross-examine Lucky. That sucks. It's a shitty place to be. So, yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Have you and I met before?
No, sir.
This is our first time speaking?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you say that your memory from that night is very strong. Would it be fair to say that before today, you've talked about this case many times?
Yes.
You've interviewed with different law enforcement people as well as civilians and attorneys, haven't you?
Correct.
I have not been one of them.
No, you have not.
Is it fair to say that when you've recounted that night as far as times and what you saw, many times your memory has changed? Is that fair to say?
It has not.
You spoke to a private investigator on behalf of the defense shortly after that night?
Yes.
Was that the first time that you spoke to somebody about what you had seen or not seen?
Yes.
That is the first time?
Yes.
Inevitably, over time...
See, the camera's looking at Karen. I'm looking at Alessi here because Alessi is locked in. He's got some laser focus here.
You have given statements to at least 4 different people, correct?
Correct.
And you've testified in court under oath?
Correct.
During the pendency from that night until today, it's fair to say there are many times where you have been intimidated, isn't it?
No.
You've been threatened.
Nope.
You were aware, sir, that you were being threatened by an online blogger to expose you?
You see Karen Reed's face of like, what? What? They're not allowed to say the name, but we know which online blogger they're talking about here, right? This is Brennan getting to argue the conspiracy aspect. He's like, isn't it true that Turtle Boy is the mastermind here and that this is all just...
Conspiracy! Conspiracy!
So, yeah, he's like, isn't it true Turtle Boy put you up to this? Is basically what he's going with here. So, yeah. Who just so happened to win the lucky draw to be in the courtroom with media today. Imagine that. Yeah. Is there an echo? Are people hearing an echo?
I was not.
You're saying as you sit here today, you have no awareness in the history of this case that you were being threatened by an online blogger?
I was not threatened by an online blogger.
Was the online blogger threatening or saying that he would expose you and tell personal things about you if you weren't helpful?
He was not threatening.
Let's remove the word threatening.
He's like, isn't it true you were threatened by Turtle Boy? And he's like, no. And it's like, all right, well, let's try to not do threatening. Let's try to do something else. And that's not going to get him anywhere either.
Was the person communicating and making clear to you that if you didn't testify in a certain way, there would be some consequence to you? Anytime from when you first spoke to the private investigator until today, were there communications made to you by an online blogger that there would be consequence to you if you didn't testify in a way that was acceptable to them?
No,
You listened, of course, didn't you, to podcasts that were about you?
I did not.
People told you about them.
Yes, they did.
When friends told you about them, you knew who that person was that was making those claims, correct?
Correct.
You were well aware of the person had a very strong and large social media presence.
I didn't know how large or what his presence were, but yes, I knew he had a blog.
Well, you know,
He's like, I was aware that Turtle Boy exists, but I didn't really care. And I didn't watch Turtle Boy. I didn't look into it. I just did not care. And I'm going to try to fix that audio crackle. That audio crackle is, I think, caused by NVIDIA. Hopefully that'll clear it up here. We'll see. But yeah, he's like, I was aware Turtle Boy exists. I didn't feel threatened. I didn't, I wasn't intimidated. I wasn't anything. So, yeah.
now because you follow that blogger now, don't you?
I do follow him, yes.
You pay for a subscription.
I do not.
Did you get one for free?
I did not.
And in following that blogger, you know full well the power that person has.
He's like, were you threatened? And he's like, no. And then it's like, oh, but now you follow this blogger. He's like, yes, now I do. It's like, okay. Brennan, how are you getting to he was threatened if he actually likes Turtle Boy now?
To get attention from the community to harass, correct?
Yes.
And so during the pendency of this case, not only were you aware that you were being pressured to testify a certain way.
That was not actually his testimony. That was not his testimony that he was being pressured.
You also knew there'd be consequences. Isn't that true?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
The premise of that question is not accurate.
So he can answer it.
No, he shouldn't have to answer a question with a bullshit premise. Huh.
You knew there was pressure for you to testify a certain way in the case, didn't you?
I did not know I was being required to testify a certain way. I was also at the time dealing with the loss of my wife.
He's like, also, I was busy because I was dealing with personal tragedies, you fucking worm. I really feel for Lucky here because Lucky is like, get off my dick, sir. You have no idea. And I like, this is Brennan being an absolute shit, and Lucky does not deserve this.
I did not know I was being required to testify a certain way. I was also at the time dealing with the loss of my wife. I was not paying any attention to any social media.
He's like, I was grieving, you asshole.
Sorry for your loss, but you are aware during the pendency of this case that there has been pressure on you.
Oh my God, we're gonna take that down to 1 speed just to show you just how much Brennan is a total sack of crap here.
Any attention to any social media.
Sorry for your loss, but you are aware during the pendency of this case.
Sorry for your loss, but dude, this is where, like, when you step in it like this, you say, I'm very sorry for your loss. You pause, you wait, and you say, is it okay if I continue asking questions? Like, I need to, because the way he said it is just like, I'm sorry for your loss, but that's really inconvenient for me right now.
That there has been pressure on you to testify in a certain way. Isn't that fair to say?
No,
Sir, you received a call from that blogger, didn't you?
I did.
And during that call, did you know the person was recording you?
I did not.
You later learned that the person recorded you.
I did not.
Did you know that your conversations were spread throughout the community online?
I was.
Sir, some of those communications or inquiries were claims that you would be exposed for personal matters if you didn't testify a certain way, weren't they?
No.
Inevitably, you've met this person, haven't you?
I've seen him. I haven't met him.
Have you ever spent time with him?
He's like, I can see him in the courtroom right now. Yeah.
No, I have not.
You're still a follower of that blog.
I am.
When you follow the blog, do you read anything or do you watch it?
No, I don't do much anything towards the blogger.
As you follow it, you can see there are oftentimes articles about you.
No,
Haven't you ever been encouraged to do the right thing?
no,
Haven't you ever been
The do the right thing is a deliberate callback to his Dever. That is a deliberate callback.
celebrated after you testified in a way favorable from one
Yes.
side to the other?
yes,
And so when you were being celebrated, that certainly took off any pressure that there would be consequence, didn't it?
Ask it differently.
When you were celebrated for testifying a certain way, did you find that to be encouraging?
I'm going to allow it.
I did find it to be encouraging,
Did
but
you?
I did not want it. I don't think I deserved it. All I was doing was my job and telling the truth.
Did you?
This is the kind of comment that is like, because Lucky is, I think, really believable here when he's like, all I am is doing my job and telling the truth. I think Lucky is solid here.
You enjoy the attention that you got?
I did not.
Did you pose in photographs with people who support one side or the other?
I did.
And when you were in those photographs, are you saying that you didn't enjoy the attention that you were receiving?
I did not. Again, I was trying to be polite and trying to avoid any confrontation that may come from something if I said no.
Well, did anybody from the district attorney's office?
He's like, I didn't want to be this, fan whatever. I just wanted to be left alone. But I also don't want to, tell people to leave me alone because I don't want to pick a fight. So when people come up and ask for a picture, I let them have a picture because I don't want to, because it's easier than whatever else. But I don't want this. I don't want it.
Office ever suggest they would confront you or punish you if you didn't testify a certain way?
No,
How many friends contacted you about what was being said before you testified, the pressure? How many people told you about that?
I couldn't tell you. All my friends were telling me.
So you were hearing a lot of noise or information from your friend group and community about what was being said about you.
Yes,
And this was before you testified at the first trial, sir.
this was before.
Sir, you work hard, don't you?
I do.
You work many different jobs.
I do.
You try to be a good citizen.
I do.
You are not looking for attention.
I am not.
It was brought to you.
It was brought to me.
You wish you never had that attention, don't you?
Yes,
Because you just want to live your life the way you want to live it rather than have people you don't know attacking, criticizing, or intimidating you.
I'll allow that.
could you repeat that, please?
Would it be fair to say that you simply want to live your life the way you've been living it without outside people attacking or pressuring or threatening you?
Yes,
He's like, I'm just a simple guy. I just want to go and be lucky. That's all I want is I just want to, I just want to be left alone. Why can't people leave me alone? I feel so much for Lucky here, like so much for him.
On June 15, 2023, you were contacted by the defense private investigator, weren't you? And you may not know the date. Were you contacted twice by the private investigator?
I would need to know what time frame we're looking at.
Fair enough. And by the way, the blogger that I speak of, do you know if he is friendly or supports one side over the other?
I know he is friendly towards one side, yes.
Okay. The side sitting.
And like Lucky is absolutely just honest, right? A lot of the questions Brennan is asking him are questions that are designed to try to tease something out of a lying witness or a deceptive witness. And that is really the wrong approach, because Lucky isn't that guy. Lucky isn't that guy. And so you'll actually see Lucky be more direct than Brennan.
If he is friendly or supports one side over the other?
I know he is friendly towards one side, yes.
Okay. The side sitting in the back of the room?
I would say the defense team.
He's like, let's just be clear. He's like, the side sitting to the back of the room. Now, you know why he does this? He looks over and he sees who's in the back of the room, and the back of the room includes like Karen Reed's family, and he's like, the defense team. Like, you leave them out of it. That's kind of the feeling I got there. So
You've interacted with a private investigator hired by the defense?
Yes,
Have you also interacted with any of the attorneys?
yes.
Which attorneys have you interacted with?
Mr. Yannetti,
Have you contacted or have you spoken to any other attorneys other than Mr. Yannetti?
just Mr. Yannetti.
How many times have you spoken to Mr. Yannetti?
Again, what are we talking? First trial, this trial?
The entire time from that night until today. Can you remember how many times you've
About
spoken?
5 times.
How many times have you gone in to be interviewed by him?
4 times?
During those interviews, were they spaced out over the course of this case?
Yes.
What was the purpose of those interviews?
To go over my testimony.
When you went over testimony, were you ever shown prior testimony?
Yes.
Were you shown prior reports?
No.
Were you shown a prior investigator's report?
Yes.
Were you shown a prior?
I actually thought that this was a risk that Brennan is kind of tiptoeing around this. Like, Brennan is tiptoeing around this. And I mean, if he'd stepped too far, he could have run into the issue of Lucky saying something, along the lines of, the blogger is interested because he knows Karen Reed is innocent or something like that. And that would be, he's tiptoeing. So, yeah.
Or by a law enforcement agency that is not the state police and not Canada?
Not by Mr. Yannetti. I saw that first document for the first time during the first trial.
When you were discussing your testimony, was there a discussion about the fact that the times that you gave the private investigator were different than the report from that law enforcement agency?
Could you repeat that question, please?
When you were preparing the trial in those meetings, was it brought up, did you discuss that there was a difference in your memory, or at least in the reports, between what you told the defense private investigator and what you told that other law enforcement agency?
No.
Were you aware?
Can we also just talk about how unflappable Lucky is? Because I would just say that if I was Lucky, and if Mrs. Runkle had passed, and somebody and that had come up in the trial, and some prosecutor had said something like, sorry for your loss, but I'd be mad. I'd be I'd be spitting nails at them. I'd be looking to chew their nose off. And Lucky is just like, I am just going to answer questions. I am just going to get through this. And I'm not gonna, like, he's not getting mad. He's not getting anything. He's not, yeah. He's just straight up. So,
Aware that there is a difference between the different statements interpreted in your memory as to time.
The first trial, yes.
When you were with the defense preparing for trial, did you go over your testimony?
Yes.
Go over questions and answers?
Yes.
Were you ever subjected to a make-pretend cross-examination about issues that were important in this case?
No.
Were you ever pointed to any particular issues that were important to talk about in this case?
No.
When you did the questions and answers, were they written down or just a conversation?
So, can you repeat that one, please? I'm sorry.
When you went through the questions and answers in preparing, practicing for your testimony, were they written down?
So ask it differently.
When you were preparing for your testimony, were the questions and answers written down, or was it just speaking?
Just speaking.
Those 4 times that you met, is that a guess, or was it 4 times?
It was about 4 times, yes.
Would it have been more?
No.
And during those 4 times, was there anything different other than going through questions and answers about testimony and preparation? Was there any other subjects you talked about?
There were none.
Did you ever receive any compensation, sir?
I received none.
Do you know whether people were sending you compensation that you didn't receive?
No.
You don't know?
I never received anything.
Were you given anything to bring home with you so that you could remember past testimony or some of the questions and answers that were going to be asked?
No.
How long were your meetings in preparation for your testimony?
About 45 minutes to an hour?
Were they all about the same time or were they different? When you came into court last year, it's fair to say this is after you became aware of essentially being targeted, correct?
He can answer that if he can. Can you answer that, Mr. Loughran?
I can. I don't ever felt like I was being targeted.
This was after you received all the information from your friends and people in the community that you were being attacked.
I'll allow that.
Again, I don't feel like I was being targeted.
Are you concerned after this case what happens with the blogger that you follow?
No.
he's like, I couldn't give fewer fucks.
Talked about your meeting with the private investigator. The first time you met him, do you remember that meeting?
Yes.
Do you remember where you met him?
I met him at my place of employment.
Did you go anywhere with him that day?
No, I did not.
You had a conversation with him and you spoke about what you had remembered from that night?
Yes.
Do you remember when you spoke to that private investigator, you weren't sure how many times you went up and down Fairview that night, that you had said 2 or 3?
No, I told him I went up at 2:30 at 2. I told him at 3:30 I went up 2.
He's like, nope, I don't remember that. Thanks. Shaby, he says, Brennan, you don't know anything about your own life. I do, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened in the light most favorable to me. Thing is that Brennan's not being an idiot here. He's trying his best with a witness who is unshakable and might otherwise be able to be shaken. And, you know, if it wasn't Lucky, he might be able to be shaken on this. But the problem is you're going after Lucky. Lucky is, you know, you can't move Lucky. And you can't move him because he's just sitting on the truth. And he's like, the truth doesn't move. I'm sitting here. This is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm going to park. And the further problem is that Brennan has no way to cross-examine Lucky that does not make him look like a dick. And part of that is that Brennan, by nature, acts like a dick. And I don't know that he can turn that off. But also, you just can't go after a guy like if I'm trying to cross-examine Lucky, I'm trying to do it as gently as possible because because there just isn't any other way. And Shay B says, lucky to Brennan. Nope. You know, Brennan is doing the best he can. He's just not getting anywhere, and he's probably pissing off the jury. So, yeah.
Went up and down. And I told him about 3 hours later, I went up and down. I went down and wasn't able to go around the police cruisers and had to turn around at Carriage Lane.
You mentioned that you believe you told the private investigator that you went up and down at 2:30. Do you remember when you spoke to the private investigator, you actually said 3 o'clock?
It's just a little swoop for that. So, yeah. David Puff says, I knew Lucky would be an unreliable witness, but I never knew it was this bad. Karen having a PI only 2 weeks after killing John was news to me. Seems she was in control for longer than I thought. Karen wouldn't have had a PI. Her defense team would have had a PI, but you thought he was an unreliable witness? What part of his testimony was shaken? Nothing.
May I approach?
Yes.
All right, let's jump ahead a little bit here to hereabouts.
Landmark ice rink, yes, out the door.
Where was that?
At the Metropolis ice rink.
The rink?
Ice rink, yes.
Did you then meet the investigator later on at a school?
Yes, I did.
And who did you meet at the school?
I met Paul again.
And what was the purpose of that?
He wanted to go through my route.
You want to go through your route?
Correct.
And then did you choose to meet at the school?
I did.
You did?
I did.
And why did you choose the school?
It was an easier landmark for the gentleman to get to, and it was minutes from my route.
Did you know that former trooper Proctor's sister worked there?
I had no idea.
You said last year that when you went by Fairview, did you say that you would buy your final pass at 5:30 a.m.?
No.
Okay.
The best defense attorneys are good at being dicks. Just look at Alan Jackson. Hank should have checked the defense attorney's style at the door to this case. Very rarely can a prosecutor act like a, I'm guessing, dick and get away with it. The thing is that you need to be able to be a dick as a lawyer, right? You have to be able to. But you also need to be able to turn it off. And you need to be able to not do that. And Brennan has trouble with the turning it off.
May I approach?
Yes.
Sir, when you have contact, you also wear reading glasses?
Yes. I can't read things up close.
Understood. This is trial testimony, testimony from June 21st, 2024.
Mhm.
And you were asked do you recall what time it was that you wound up back on Fairview? You said, I don't honestly recall a specific time. Yes?
Yes.
And then you were asked, sure. Approximately, if it was 3:15 to 3:30, that second time, what would be your best estimate of the time when you came back? And what did you say?
Say about 5:30.
And so even last year, you were having some difficulty remembering the times, right?
Objection.
Were you having difficulty last year remembering the times that you were on Fairview?
No.
When you said you were on Fairview last year at 5:30, you didn't see anything on the Albert front lawn at 5:30 a.m.?
I wasn't on Fairview at 5:30 a.m.
Okay. Were you asked last year about your travels on Fairview?
Yes,
Okay, when you asked about, recall, it was time you wound up on Fairview, and you said you didn't remember. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Is that true testimony?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you had some difficulties in your memory of when you were on Fairview when you testified last year. Isn't that fair to say?
No, it's not fair.
And then you were asked approximately if it was 3:15 to 3:30 the second time, what time did you come back?
And I said, if I were to guess, I said 45 minutes later.
Did you say, I would say, if I had to say, it would have been 5:30 up Fairview?
That time was incorrect. It was 6:15. I couldn't go down any further due to the police presence.
So your testimony,
So they got a little bit in here. They say, "Hey, you've got some of the you have some of the times wrong before." Problem is, it doesn't really make Lucky look like a liar, especially because he comes in and he's like, he comes in and he's just like, "That was not correct. That's not, So yeah,
last year, you understandably made a mistake about the time, correct?
I did.
And it's true, isn't it, that you really have somewhat foggy memory about the times.
It is not.
That time of 5:30 is very different than the time you told the agents when you met them. I'm sorry,
whoops! Did you? Whoops!
the law enforcement officials that were.
Let's watch this again. We're just gonna take this down to 1 speed because Brennan gets a little bit flustered, and then when he gets flustered, he done fucked up here. He fucked up a little bit.
Mistake about the time, correct?
I did.
And it's true, isn't it, that you really have somewhat foggy memory about the times.
It is not.
That time of 5:30 is very different than the time you told the agents when you met them. I'm sorry, the law enforcement officials that weren't from.
The agents. Now the jury here has heard FBI. They've heard agents. I don't know that that's opened the door, but it is funny that he said the agents.
Canton or the state police. That was very different than when you told them 3 to 3:30.
Very different.
And it's different than the 3:30 to 4 timeline that you gave the defense private investigator the first time you spoke to them. Correct?
Correct.
And it's different than what you told the jury today that it was 6:15.
It's different, but it's not.
When you plowed that night, did you have any reason to look for somebody who was lying on the side of the yard?
No.
Did you have any expectation somebody would be lying helpless on the side of the yard that night?
No.
If you had seen somebody, certainly you would have helped.
Correct.
100% he would have. Like, there's just no question on that. But Brennan is saying, like, you weren't looking, you didn't see any passed out person because you weren't looking, right? So, all right.
When you said that, when the private investigator asked you where you were when you said you saw the Fort Edge, are you saying that you didn't tell the private investigator that you were on Cedar?
I don't remember telling him I was on Cedar Crest. I do remember telling him that I had turned on to Fairview and saw the vehicle.
Cedar Crest in a storm at night is quite a distance from the flagpole at Fairview, isn't it?
No.
About 300 feet?
Roughly.
Difficult to see under those conditions?
No.
Could we have Exhibit 71, Stream 0 at a...
He's like, it's not that difficult to see because I am in Frankentruck, and Frankentruck sees all.
about 6:17 a.m., please?
Okay.
Could you stop it there? Can you see that street light?
I do.
Okay. At the end of that road, past the street light, is Cedar Crest, correct?
Correct.
Is that a fair depiction of the elements that night around that time?
Yes,
And in this case, there's further illumination with the car that's facing us.
correct,
That wasn't there, was it?
correct.
You said after you saw law enforcement, did you come down Fairview after you saw law enforcement?
I was on Fairview already when I saw the law enforcement.
Did you drive by Cedar Crest again to go back and forth and watch what was going on, or did you go on your route?
I went on my route, which included Cedar Crest.
Did you keep driving by because you wanted to watch, or did you just leave and do your regular route?
I went and did my regular route.
Could I have 61927, please? And could you play it? If you could back up a little before 61927. Is that weather consistent with what it looked like to you?
Yes,
Is that you there?
I don't
There's a truck.
know if that's me. Yes, that's me. That is me.
Could we go to 63245, please?
So we know that this is what the weather looks like because there he is. And yeah.
Is that you again?
That one, I can't tell if that was me again.
Could we go to 63514, please? Was that you?
I don't see it. I don't see the truck. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Could we go back to 63512?
That looks like to be a pickup truck. That does not look like my truck.
637.
He's like,
45,
nope.
Please. And that's you again, right?
Again, I can't tell you for sure if that was me.
Those were not your red and orange lights consistent with the earlier ones that went by?
What I saw the first time was the reflecting tape off the body of my truck.
We go to
I have
7.
a plow guy that is a contractor that we work in tandem together.
And was he out there that night as well, going by Fairview?
Correct.
Okay. Did you ever
He's
tell
like,
the private
there's a
investigator about him?
There's a second plow in the area, so I can't tell if that's me or the other dude.
Yes, I did.
7 o'clock, 22 seconds, please. Is that you, sir?
I can't say for sure.
7:15, 45 seconds, please.
We're not there yet.
Do you recognize that plow?
I do not.
7:19 and 55 seconds, please.
So he spends a lot of time on shitty dash cams. Okay.
With the defense investigator and giving a statement to the defense investigator.
Yes,
How soon after January 29th of 2022 was that?
2 weeks.
Were the events fresh in your mind at that time?
Yes.
Finally, oh, actually not finally, I got 2 more points, but they're both brief. You had mentioned that that night you actually misjudged and hit a net.
Yes.
Can you describe the basketball apparatus that, and I'm going to ask you what part of it you hit, but describe what that looks like.
It's got a base with wheels on it. It's portable, so you can move it in and out. And it's got the basketball frame, and it's got the backboard and then rim.
Okay. So this is not a pole that was cemented into the ground.
Correct.
But perhaps we're all familiar with it, the black base that maybe you put sandbags on,
Correct.
that type of thing to keep it in place, but it does have wheels?
Correct.
All right. And you mentioned the net. The net is the rope netting that comes down.
Correct.
There's also a hoop that keeps the net in place?
Yes.
And a pole?
Correct.
And the base?
Correct.
Of all those things, what part did your Franken truck actually catch?
It caught the net in the little bit part of the frame, of the frame where the net was.
Something that you saw from the beginning, you just misjudged the distance.
Correct.
Now, finally, with regard to the 5:30 testimony that you gave last year,
Yes.
did you also testify that the last pass that you tried to make when the police were blocking the scene was about 3 hours after that 3:30 second up and down?
Yes.
So why is it last year that you testified that it was 3 hours later, but you came up with the time of 5:30 as the final time?
As he's asking me these questions, I'm trying to do the math in my head. I'm sorry, math is not my strong suit.
What time?
He's like, I tried to do the math, but brother, I am bad at math. And I feel you, Lucky. I feel you on that. All right, let's take a pause here because we're going to jump ahead in just a... Ooh, I got hiccups. So we're going to sort of catch up on Super Chats here, and then I owe you guys a new clip. Marmar, Ruckle, your laugh momentarily cures my depression when I hear it. You're wholesome AF. Marmar, I hope we can more lastingly cure it. Rain Man, I'm aware that wildlife video exists. Nobody's seen this one yet. I think I know what it is, but I want to get chat as a second set of eyes on it. Greg, Turtle Boy threatened you, correct? No. You also follow Turtle Boy on social media? Yes. Yeah, good job, Hank, because we all follow people who threaten and harass us. Dope. Steve 8, no empathy for Brennan. This is all self-inflicted. Yeah. Lita Randolph, love when you swear, Ian, because that's what most of us want to say to Brennan. It's just, yeah. Tracy Sires, I feel like Brennan just has an agenda or list of questions, and he doesn't hear half the answers to his questions. He just keeps plowing through. Sometimes that's a tactic. Chapter 8, thank you so much for the YouTube membership. Much appreciated. Greg says, I'd be the dumb witness who challenged Brennan about the PI report impeachment. Is there a reason you're not showing me what was so different? They don't have to show you, but yeah. Music to my soul. Do you really think Brennan said do the right thing on purpose? He basically conceded that Dever was being pressured by the Boston PD commissioner. Yeah, the jury may see that and go, ooh, we don't like that. Or I suspect that the jury's just going to be like, oh, this guy was also told to do the right thing. Bookish says, going hard at this man is such a bad move. Lucky is such a likable, sympathetic man. He comes across very gentle, sweet, mild-mannered, and honest. That's my read on him, but I mean, I could be wrong. I saw a couple people in chat who were like, I didn't like this guy, so I'm not sure if I lost connection. Oh, there we go. Skeesy says, a buddy of ours combined pieces of a baritone, a mellophone, and a trombone. And that dang monstrosity played and sounded great. Named it Frankenbone. Huh, I kind of want to hear that thing. Helga, thank you for the new membership. Much appreciated. Against the Tide says, please like to help Ian reach his pro bono goals. Thank you, Tide. Veronique V says, the article in evidence mentions the feds. Did they actually put the article into evidence? Did I miss that? Ooh, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. Yeah, if that went into evidence, that was a big oops. Texas Katie did. Brennan can't help being a sleazy jerk. Bless his heart. Honest witnesses like Lucky are a big contrast to Hank Brennan's poor actions. It's tough to cross-examine a really honest witness. January Garnett, watch Judge's face when Hank Brennan says trial the next time. I'm sure she's just like, fuck it at this point. Dubious Dragons is about consciousness of guilt and Turtle Boy not lucky. Yeah, they haven't been able to draw a Turtle Boy Karen Reed connection yet. Yinzer says someone bought the web address hankbrennan.com and just made it a link to Karen's defense fund. Nice. CSI Canton, notice Brennan is avoiding Elaine's Umbrella Man moment. Yeah, that was a bit of a stupid moment from the depth trial. ShamWow from Vancouver. Hey, it's 227 day. Trial 2, day 27. I think there were some bombshells denied today involving Jen. And ShamWow, if you're in Vancouver, I'm going to be there July 12th. Twitter pated. Thank you, Ian, for coverage. Thank you, mods, for all you do. Thank you. Equality. Ian's getting trolls. I think he's made it, guys. There's occasional things, but David Puff he's not trolling. He's just got an opinion. He's been like in the chat for forever. Lucy says Frankentruck probably has like 1,000 lumens. I kind of feel like you could cook a hot dog off of Frankentruck's lighting system. Water Unleashed. First, Brennan shows us the street light he earlier tried to say wasn't there. Second, he then shows us cars all the way down the road when visibility was so bad. Make it make sense. And apparently the report was redacted, so it probably was redacted to. Yeah. And we have Happy Sunshine as someone with poor working memory. Thanks, ADHD. I'm afraid a lawyer like BH, or I guess that was probably Hank Brennan, would toss me like a rag. It's sad and terrifying. Glad Lucky held his ground. Sometimes just having a poor memory is what it is, right? So, yeah. All right, now this one, Klodak Mockline. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I work in criminal defense, and I just can't imagine how frustrated Hank was during this cross. He tried absolutely everything, yet Lucky remained a pure angel. He absolutely did. This is a witness that is frustrating because when they're against you, you have to actually, fight to get something. And I don't think Brennan managed to move anything on this one. So let me just show you a little clip, and I think I know what I see here, but I want your guys' take. Did you see that guy? Let's watch him again. And there he is. So definitely a bear. Definitely not a snoot to boop, as the chat is saying. I don't think it's a grizzly. I don't think it's a brown bear. I think it's a big black bear, because it's either a really small brown bear or a great big black bear. I think it's a big black bear, and black bears can be brown, believe it or not. So I'm like, that said, when I next go up to the land, I sure as hell am going to be keeping the dogs on a leash and bringing a little shoddy. I'll probably bring a couple of shoddies. Just like tell Mrs. Runkle that if she's going out somewhere, she's got to bring one. Because yeah, now I don't see the sort of hump at the end. We've got bear spray. I like having multiple bear spray options, because bear spray, if the bear spray doesn't work, I like to go to extra spicy bear spray, which is the spray of lead. So yeah, this what is it? I'm not like out to go after it. It's not like I'm not I'm not heading out for the guy. I'm just I don't want him to eat me. So I didn't gather all those branches. Those were already there when we bought the land. So we'll just have to see. And but yeah, I mean, I think he's just a big old cinnamon black bear, and I think he's just a big cinnamon black bear. But yeah, that's my feeling on that one. And yeah, so what is it? Pee around that area every so often because most animals will stay away. I don't want them to stay away. I want the like I've been seeing moose there. I've been seeing deer there. That same camera, the other trail camera, by the way, sees nothing. But that same camera has seen this. And that. And this. Yeah, I don't want to keep the animals away from that spot. I want them. I like that like that spot is Animal Grand Central Station, and I totally want them there. So, Runkle, did you purchase this land just so you'd have a place where you could kill things? No, I wanted to have a place where I could go and camp and so forth. But I mean, I absolutely will hunt there. So, yeah. All right. Let's keep going here. And yeah, here's the point. Your trail cameras are better than all the cameras in Canton. Let's we're gonna get a camera. We're gonna see the camera from what do you call it? From the waterfall, and then we'll just we'll compare and contrast. Camp in a tent sometimes, but we also bought a little fifth wheel there. So, have you tried putting the camera up higher? Sometimes the light scares things off. I mean, I see a lot there, so I don't think the light is really bothering them. But yeah.
What time was it when you made that final pass, sir?
6:15, 6:30.
I have nothing further.
So yeah, he's just confirming that time. Let's go to this part here. Brennan's gonna take another swing at him.
All right, Mr. Brennan.
I'm going to move it. So, yeah. I'm going to move that camera, the other camera.
Sorry, I have just a few more questions. When I had mentioned about meeting the defense investigator on June 5th, 2023, I misspoke. It was June 5th, 2024. Does that sound more like it?
Yes.
June 5th, 2024, was that shortly before you testified before?
Yes.
You were asked on redirect examination whether any dumpsters got any attention about this case. The question I was asking is, did you notice things that might have been open and obvious? And you have no memory of an actual dumpster in the area, correct?
Correct.
If I could have on the screen Exhibit 37, still photo from that clip.
So we're just going to have a look at, we're just going to have a little look there. So, yeah. Oh, and I got to set another goal. Let's see, goal. Scotch? Oh, and yesterday I ended up ordering wings, and they were super disappointing. So, So let's have a look at this dumpster that he's going to show us.
Have a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
It's a video that I'll stop at for a certain point.
Okay.
71.
I mean, this is likely the goal because we're hopefully going to not go as long tonight because we had a half day, right? And then we get a day off tomorrow, or at least I get a day off tomorrow, which means I'm going to release a 90-minute video about a court case. So, yeah.
And sir, do you notice the big red dumpster to the right side across from Fairview?
Let's do this again on 1 speed. We're taking it down to 1 speed here.
And sir, do you notice the big red dumpster to the right side across from Fairview?
Notice he's not spotting it. And then they're like zooming in.
You can take that.
Do you see what they did with the cursor too? Watch this cursor, like the one that I'm circling, because watch what he does.
Yes.
You can take that down. Dumpster to the right side across from Fairview.
He's like, did you notice the dumpster to the right side on Fairview? And they have to zoom in on it and use the cursor to point it out to him. And he's like, I guess I do now. And, you know, they're trying to say, like, listen, like he is not super observant because he just doesn't notice any of the, he doesn't notice this thing. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't mean he's not actually observant because, so let's talk about this. What is Lucky looking for? Well, he's not looking for a big parked object that is way off the side of the road. And why wouldn't he be looking for the big parked object that's way off the side of the road? Well, because at the end of the day, there is no way that big old dumpster, there is no way that this dumpster runs out into traffic to get it, but a body on the ground is the kind of thing that you notice, right? A body on the ground is the kind of thing that you notice because it's unusual. You know, it's like saying, hey, why didn't you notice the, why didn't you notice the plate that was on the table when you came in? But you did notice the dog shit that was sitting on the floor. And it's like, well, because the plate is a thing that, might not be a big deal, right? A plate is, but like dog poo on your floor is the kind of thing you notice because it's not supposed to be there. It's not supposed to, it's it's an unusual thing. So, yeah. I mean, if you, I guess the other thing is like, let's say did you notice whether you had a piece of parsley, on your steak plate? I don't know. Maybe. Did you notice whether there was like a Band-Aid on your steak? You would notice the Band-Aid in a way that you might not notice. Like, why is this hard? Why is Hank? And I don't think this is probably playing well for the jury. So
Yes.
You can take that down. Sir, when we started the break, I'd asked you some questions. I showed you a document, asked you if you were aware what was inside that document, and you mentioned that was around June 5th, 2023. That was before your last testimony in this case.
Yes.
And you knew that a person or persons were putting out private pictures of you online.
I did notice.
And those private pictures, you didn't give anybody permission or want that attention, did you?
I did not.
In fact, it wasn't just some private pictures. It was pictures taken from a number of different times in your life, correct?
Yes.
You never gave anybody permission to do that.
I did not.
You didn't want people talking about you or asking you questions. That was none of their business, did you?
I did not.
And it was
He's
embarrassing.
like, leave me the hell
that
alone.
You were being made this public spectacle when you had done nothing wrong, correct?
Ask it differently.
Was it embarrassing what they were doing to you?
I wouldn't say embarrassing as more as aggravating.
In fact, they were calling your boss. Yes?
I'm going to allow that.
Yes.
And you mentioned how hard you work.
Yes.
Plow, you even deliver peaches to 8 years.
Yes.
Zamboni, anytime you work, you try hard, don't you?
I do.
And when someone's calling your boss, giving undue attention to you, did it create some concern it could affect your livelihood?
I did not think it was going to affect me in that manner.
In addition to dragging you into this, because
he's like, I wasn't going to get fired over this, Hank. So, yeah.
of you, your brother was dragged into this, wasn't he?
Ask it differently.
When you were getting this information about what was happening, you learned that they were also dragging your brother into this because of you, correct?
I'll sustain that.
Did you learn that information was coming out about your brother?
I knew my brother was dealing with other issues regarding this case.
And certainly, you're close with your brother.
Yes.
Care for your brother.
Yes.
You did not want to upset anybody and have more attention brought onto your brother, did you?
I did not.
And there was an attempt to link your brother to one of the outlets, in fact, correct?
Yes.
As well as you.
I don't know if I was being linked.
Did you know the information of trying to so-called out you about the fact that you work for Chris Albert?
I'm going to sustain that the words first.
Were you aware when your friends and family were telling you about what was going on, about an attempt to draw a relationship between you and the Alberts?
No.
And were you aware when people were telling you what was happening, that there was attacks on you personally, like finances and things like that?
Yes, I was aware of that.
And certainly, that is pretty discouraging when that is happening and you've done nothing wrong, isn't it?
It was, again, aggravating.
And this was all happening before you came in and testified last time at the trial.
Correct.
He's like, isn't it true people were...
After
So what he's trying to suggest is that Lucky is testifying the way he is because Brennan, or because he's being forced into it, right? We'll see if the jury buys that.
testified, things got better.
I wouldn't say better. It's gotten a little more easily manageable.
You were no longer being harassed, you were being embraced.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Showing you a photograph, you recognize that?
I do.
Is that part of the embracing process after you testified a certain way at the last trial?
It was after I testified, yes.
The embracing
With
process.
redactions, we want people to introduce a select portion that's
So I need to see what that is. Come to sidebar and make this very brief, please.
He's like, I object, and she's like, okay, come up to sidebar and let's make this very brief. It's like we got places to be.
So that's next in evidence, Madam Clerk. Madam Court Reporter, please.
212.
And I just showed you a photograph. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of you after your last testimony,
Yes.
reflecting you now being embraced rather than attacked?
Yes.
Could we show the photo, please, Ms. Gilman, with the court's permission?
Yes.
So Brennan won that objection. Surprise.
Mr. Loughran?
Yes.
You can take that down, please. Thank you for your time.
Just very briefly, sir, if I might go on.
They're like, so basically Brennan is trying to suggest that he's doing this for attention. He's doing this because, if he testifies for the state or for the Commonwealth, that people will be mean to him. But he really likes, and Lucky is like, I don't want the attention. I don't like the attention. I put up with the attention so that people won't be upset with me, but I don't want this. This is not what I want from my life.
Sure.
Mr. Loughran, I should say, the questioning about the attention that you received in 2023 when you received secondhand the information from the blogger, was that before or long after you were interviewed and gave a statement to the defense investigator in February of 2022?
It was long after.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Okay.
He's like, so that question is basically, you can't have changed your story because you already gave the story before anybody knew who you were, right? And he's like, yeah, that is true. Yeah, I really feel bad for what Lucky's being put through here. And I mean, put through here by people you don't agree with, but also by people you might, because he doesn't like the attention from anybody. So leave him alone. All right. So then they bring on let's cover super chats because I'm trying not to get so buried in them this time. Joey Jones Donley, thank you for the humor. Having a dreadful day. Thank you. Shay B, look at that beautiful bear. That bear is an absolute sweetheart that I don't want to meet. I like that the bear's around. I don't want to meet the bear, if that makes sense. So, yeah. We're just going to have to be very bear careful. There's no food in the... we keep everything clean in the little fifth wheel. There's no food in there, so I don't think the bear's got a reason to break into it. Yeah. What is it? That bear is looking for that moose. I don't think so. Bears don't usually want to tangle with a moose because a moose, bears are too cute to be so vicious. It's not fair. I want to hug it. Bears and moose are both, yeah. David Craig says, dang, I'm jealous of you in that land. There are some issues as well, so we'll have to see. But it's so far, yeah. And I got to figure out some things. But yeah, Shaby, have you tried putting the camera up higher? Sometimes the light scares them off or things off. I haven't, but maybe I should. CLO says, Scotchy, Scotch. Watch it go down into my belly. Did we hit the goal? We did hit the goal. I will have to pour one. MMG Entertainment. Hi, Runkle. Can you explain the goal, please? Sorry if you already did. They're kind of a fun way because I'm bad at grifting. I am bad. And then the chat yells at me going, Runkle, you need to grift better. And I'm like, I'm bad at it, though. So it allows, setting of like a reward or some silly thing we'll do, and sometimes it's stuff I just wanted to do anyway, like having a scotch. And then it sort of enables me to remember to grift because I'm bad at it otherwise. So can you explain the goal, please? Sorry if you already did. Yep. Cat in Virginia. Lucky uttered my favorite line from this case. I was cordial with the boys, referring to the Alberts. Yeah, that was an interesting phrasing, I thought. Stacy Labruno, you mean the dumpster next to the car? That's the size of a car? Yeah, there's a little bit of that, too. Shay B says, hubby used to plow snow in Tahoe. New drain was installed over the summer and caught the corner of his plow, folded him up in the cab, and destroyed the plow. Ooh. That's rough. I hope he's okay. Lita Randolph, does Hank ask some pretty stupid questions, or is it just me? Sometimes lawyering is about asking some stupid questions. And, sometimes you have to ask, as an example of a stupid question I've had to ask before. So a guy said, I went into the glove box to get, and in this case, it was a baton. So he went into a glove box to get a baton. And I asked him, and the glove box is in the car, yes? And he said, yes. And he looked at me like I was an idiot. Because it's like, of course the glove compartment is in the car. But you got to ask that because otherwise it's not in evidence, right? And it's not... it's not a potential, it's potentially not a thing. To twirl regarding the baton? No. He got that baton to hit somebody with. And he did hit somebody with the baton. So, yeah, that... yeah. It was a complicated file. Shay B says he seems so sweet and heartbroken, but also very loved by others. I feel like Lucky probably has a good circle of friends. That's my feeling there. Greg, Lucky was so harassed he became a local rock star, and people couldn't wait to get pictures with him. Gasp. I don't think he wants that though. Like he doesn't any of that. Cat in Virginia. If they made a cartoon of this trial, Brennan would be portrayed as a rodent. That's not nice to the rodents. Greg, so Lucky was being harassed on such a high level, he decided to testify for the attention. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Brennan's story makes it all that, yeah. Joy W, Yannetti making it obvious that Brennan once again mispronounced Lucky's last name. 24 hours in. Thank you for your laugh. I have court tomorrow. I hate. Fair. Michigan Farm Boy. I recently saw a video of a mother moose chasing a grizzly that got too near the young moose. Impressive. Moose are basically like, let's say you've got, your designer, your deity or whatever, and it's like, I need to make a tank, but I want it to be a herbivore. And so what is my answer to a herbivorous tank? And they got to moose. Moose are terrifying. Moose are aggressive at times, and they're big, giant monsters. And to give you an idea of how big a moose is, let's watch this. Bear. Now, I just showed you the beginning of the bear because that shows you where, like, it shows you distance, right? And then moose. The bear and the moose are at the same distance. And the moose is so large that it could step over the bear without touching it. It's a great big monster animal. And that's not a big moose. That's a little moose. That's not the littlest moose, but it's a little moose. And yeah. Maybe I'm going to show you the deer, but I also need to show you, I'm going to show you another deer that I got, but I also need to show you the other moose picture. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get that ready and I'm going to show that to you. So yeah. But here's another deer that's kicking around. All right, let me get the moose picture or the moose video uploaded. I'm just sending that to myself so I can get it off the phone. So let me show you the scariest thing I've seen on my land so far. The absolute scariest, and it's not even close. So here we go, and download, and then I gotta upload it to StreamYard. Stop bashing. What am I bashing? What am I bashing? So we're gonna find the scariest moose or the scariest thing on my property here. It is it is very terrifying, and it is something I hope never to meet on the land. Let me show you what it is. Nope, it's just processing. Come on, finish processing. I gotta hit the. Okay, here we go. Once more. So the scariest thing on that land is that wee little baby moose. The wee little baby moose. And the reason why the wee little baby moose is the scariest thing on that land is because Mama is nearby. And if that little baby happens to show up when I am, when I'm nearby, Mama's going to have some opinions. And if Mama decides that she doesn't like me being near baby moose, Mama gonna mess me up. And yeah, I am not gonna mess with that. I see some people saying I'm having crackle problems. Let me see if I can resolve crackle problems. Maybe that'll help. So I don't know. All right. Somebody says same with bears. Don't get in between, bear or mama bear and baby bear. Yep. That's a bad place to be standing for sure. Okay, so let's go to our next witness here. Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump to her, and you're gonna want to see her. So here we go.
You solemnly swear the evidence you give the court here in the case
And I've got a scotch.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
May I proceed, Ron?
Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell both your first name and your last name?
Sure. My name's Karina Kolokithas. It's Karina. Last name Kolokithas. Kolokithas.
So let's talk about the downside of being Greek. I'm guessing she's been having to explain how to spell her last name for her entire life. Peter is lucky. His last name is just Tragos. It's easy, and yeah. I think she's also wonderful. The defense had two great witnesses here, so yeah.
That's almost as bad as him.
It's
Did you hear the comment here?
THAS.
That's almost as bad as him.
It's long.
In what town do you live now?
I live in Canton.
How long have you lived there?
We've lived there for 22 years.
Where did you grow up?
So I initially grew up in Randolph, and then we moved to Braintree, and I finished my last 3 years of high school and stayed there till I was married.
And where did you go to school after high school?
So after high school, I went to Northeastern University. I did the pharmacy program there.
And what is your profession?
I'm a pharmacist.
How long have you worked as a...
Spoiler alert, that's relevant. Her being a pharmacist is super, super relevant. And yeah. So then we're going to jump to something that is completely unrelated to the trial. Completely unrelated to the trial. And Cleopatra says Runkle texting vigorously. Runkle was trying to get the video of the little baby moose up to be able to show you guys. This is unrelated to the trial. I just thought it was interesting. So right here.
Ultimately, I would say 8 to 4:30 that day.
What plans did you have after work?
So after work, my plans were to go to the Canton High basketball game to watch my daughter play.
And what plans came up for before the game that night?
So before the game, before I left work, there was a text that went around saying that some of the parents were going to meet at the Canton Junction before the game, and if anybody wanted to stop by and grab a bite to eat.
And what is the Canton Junction?
So it used to be like a little pub/restaurant in Canton.
I'm guessing it went out of
Did you go
business.
to the Canton Junction?
So I went home first because I had a bag I had to switch out of because we have to have plastic clear bags at work. So
What? She works as a pharmacist, and she has to have a clear plastic bag at work because I'm guessing they're worried she's gonna steal shit. I just the pharmacists here don't have to have clear plastic bags, but I feel bad for her that she's got to have a clear purse, and she's like, I can't go out directly after work because I have this stupid shitty bag. And yeah, I feel bad for her. It's unrelated to the trial. Like, this does not matter for the trial at all. But yeah, I felt bad for her for that. So, yep. All right, let's keep going here.
Get into it.
guilted 100% into it.
All right, so where did
Like, I don't want to go. And then my kids got involved with the conversation.
and how did that affect your decision?
So they started saying to me, Mom, you never go out. You never do anything. You know, Dad's by himself. Just go, keep him company while he eats. So I reluctantly went.
All right, so you were guilted into it.
Guilted 100% into it.
Both of them are super charming with each other. And and she's like, my kids guilted me into this. She has the ultimate trump card to play on everything now, because every time they're like, Mom, you got to do this. She's like, you know what happened the last time you guilted me into something? I ended up a witness in a murder trial. You little brats. And I see people saying clear bags are standard for U.S. retail, CVS, Walgreens. That is shitty. I haven't worked in a retail for a long time, but that is a shitty thing to do to people. So, yeah. Anyway, keeping on going here.
So where did you go?
So then I went to the Waterfall.
Do you recall about what time it was that you got to the Waterfall Bar and Grill?
I believe I got there approximately 9:30 or so.
And when you first arrived there, who was there, if anyone, that you recognized?
So my husband was there, and then I recognized Jennifer and Matt McCabe.
And what happened after you got there?
So after I got there, I walked in and I said to my husband, I'm like, where is everybody from the basketball team? And he said, I don't know. They all sort of split up. He's like, don't worry.
Yes, I do know how much 10 oxy go for on the street. I do criminal defense. Yeah. Whoop.
Just hang out here. I already ordered a sandwich, so just hang out with me while I eat, and then we'll go.
And were you introduced to anyone?
Yeah. So then Jennifer McCabe started introducing me to all her family, so I got to meet a lot of them. It was fun. It was a good time.
And do you recall specifically who you met?
So I think I believe I met. Well, she sort of just introduced me to whoever was at the table. So I'm not sure 100%, but just like the niece, her sister, her brother-in-law, like people like that.
All right. The Albert family?
Correct.
And when you're being introduced to a bunch of people at once, it can be tough to keep everybody's names straight at the time.
Right. It's kind of overwhelming. There was a lot of Jen's family.
Now, what were you drinking that night?
So that night I drank water.
And the whole time you were at the waterfall, did you drink anything else except for water?
I only drank water that night.
Now, was there a point when you were going to leave the waterfall before they closed up for the night?
So, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. You wound up leaving at a certain time, correct?
I never left.
Well,
This is funny. This is a funny little moment.
you wound up leaving at a certain time, correct?
I never left.
Well, you left because you're in court today. You're not still at the waterfall.
Okay, correct.
So what I'm trying to get at is, at some point you left the waterfall, but was there a point before that where you were planning to go?
Correct.
All right. Tell us about that.
So my husband had eaten, and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to get going. And I was about to get going, and then John and Karen walked in.
Okay. And when you say John and Karen, you're referring to?
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
And why did that change your plans?
I was excited to see them.
Wait, are people saying she's 50? Christ, if she's 50, she's like made a pact with something, because holy crap.
I liked Karen, so as soon as I saw her walk in, I was like, hey, I'm going to stay. I want to talk to her.
And what did you notice about John O'Keefe's mood when he arrived that night?
So John was very happy.
Wow, I mean, whatever demonic pact she's made to look the way she does at 50, I guess worth it, because she does not look 50. She does not look 50 at all. She like 30. Wow.
Niece had just gotten into a private school called Bishop Fian, and that was like the first thing he was talking about. He was elated that she got in, and he was telling everybody about that.
And thereafter, how much interaction did you have with John and or Karen?
Karen and I probably spent the entire night talking. Maybe give or take some time that we didn't, but the majority of the time Karen and I were speaking together.
And if you had to estimate, how long a conversation did you have with Karen?
30 maybe an hour, like 40, 50 minutes out of the hour. Like if we spent like an hour together, perhaps we spoke 50 minutes of those out of that hour.
And without telling us the content of the conversation, what was the subject matter, if you remember?
So Karen was also, she mentioned being excited about Kaylee getting into Bishop Vian. And when I first saw her, she first started talking about my daughter. So I saw her, she came in, she greeted me. And when we did start talking, she just started talking about my daughter and how much she really loved my daughter's relationship with John's niece.
Okay. And while you were having this conversation with Karen, was it an easy conversation back and forth?
28 months
Very
of warnings
easy.
against friendship
Where were you
things.
located within the waterfall while you were having this conversation?
We were at a I don't remember where we were talking.
Do you see her back away from this?
We were at a I don't.
She's like, no, I don't want to say high top. I don't want to be the person who introduces high top into this table or into this trial. We were at a no.
I don't remember where we were talking. We were sitting down talking at a table.
And how close did you get to her when you were speaking with her?
In order for someone to hear you, because of the band being so loud, we were probably a couple feet from each other.
And in what direction were you facing when you were speaking to her? And I'm talking in relation to Karen.
I don't remember if she was next to me at this point. She could have been next to me at this point.
All right. And your face would have been facing where?
At her.
Okay. That actually was the question. I'm sorry. This is kind of a stilted way to talk, but I have to ask.
He's like, I do have. This is one of the things. This is sometimes you've got to ask, you've got to ask stupid questions. And so they have this little moment here.
Next to me at this point. She could have been next to me at this point.
All right. And your face would have been facing where?
At her.
Okay. That actually was the question. I'm sorry. This is kind of a stilted way to talk, but I have to ask the questions this way.
We were face to face.
There you go. All right. So in other words, Karen was also facing you when she was speaking to you?
Correct.
Did you notice what Karen was drinking?
So she was drinking a drink it was a clear liquid out of a clear glass, and I assumed it to be alcohol of some sort, but I'm not sure.
And while you were talking with her, can you describe, was the conversation coherent?
Very coherent.
Was she making sense?
She was.
Was she engaged in the conversation?
She was.
And did you make any observations regarding her sobriety?
She seemed fine to me.
And you're a pharmacist, correct?
I am a
And
pharmacist.
you were that
And this is where the pharmacist comes back.
night.
I was that night.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know that pharmacists necessarily do a whole lot of evaluating people's drinking, right? Because I think most people, when they go to a pharmacy, are sober. But it sounds good. I would ask the question too. It is kind of misleading, right? Because, do pharmacists get training in identifying intoxication from alcohol? I don't know, right? So I'm like, okay. See people saying it's part of it because they deal with addicts. Yeah, fair. I mean, Lolly doesn't touch it, so you don't know how I spend my Wednesdays at the pharmacy, Runkle. That is true. That is true. Jillian, if you happen to want to travel to Vancouver on the 12th, we're doing a meetup, but I think that's probably a long shot. Also, Warpig says, "Hi Ian, love your channel. I know what you mean about the moose. I purchased 50 acres in central Maine and they're everywhere. I just cracked open some Gentleman Jack. Cheers, my friend. Cheers." Yeah, moose are big, scary monster beasts. So yeah.
How much interaction did you see that Karen had with John O'Keefe?
They had some interaction.
And was there one specific interaction that stands out in your mind then and today? And I'm talking about a physical interaction.
When they hugged at one point.
Okay. And did John come over to Karen at one point and do something?
He did.
What did he do?
So John went over to Karen and he gave her a kiss on the forehead.
Okay. And that kiss on the forehead, why did that stand out to you?
So honestly, I'd never seen something like that before, a boyfriend do to a girlfriend in public. Never saw that. So it just stood out to me. I was like, wow, that's the...
What the fuck is wrong with Canton? Can we go back to this? Like, what the hell is wrong with Canton?
Come over to Karen at one point and do something.
He did.
What did he do?
So John went over to Karen and he gave her a kiss on the forehead.
Yes, 12th of July.
And that kiss on the forehead, why did that stand out to you?
So honestly, I'd never seen something like that before, a boyfriend do to a girlfriend in public. Never saw that. So it just stood out to me. I was like, wow, that's the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
Can we...
What? Like, how do boyfriends and girlfriends deal with each other in Canton? Like, if you're feeling, if you love your partner in Canton, do you like send a notarized letter by pigeon or what? Like, I don't get it. Like, I do not get this at all. Okay, but the point of all of this is that it was very sweet. They were sweet, they were friendly, they were whatever, and I'm like, but okay, all right, that's weird.
Cue up exhibit 22.
Yeah, I just didn't understand that one at all. So I just want to show you here. This is the video from the waterfall. This is the video from the waterfall. And if you're thinking, is that Bigfoot? Then, yeah. Sex is not a spectator sport. Kissing on the forehead is not sex. I'm just like that's pretty low end. So yeah. Use this as an opportunity to remind dudes not to greet their girlfriends with a tit grab unless they ask you to. It's so yeah, here's the waterfall cameras. Now, because I've been showing you guys the wildlife cameras, we are going to compare and contrast. And for fairness, we're going to use one that's on the night vision just to compare and contrast. So, waterfall. versus moose. I feel like the moose cam is so much better than the waterfall cam. How much did my camera cost? I think it was 300 Canadian for a package of 2 of them. So, yeah.
Okay. So I'm referring to that head right there.
Understood. Okay,
And
and
then-
I think you had said something else?
And then that right there is John O'Keefe with the hat.
Okay, there's a ball cap.
Correct.
And on the video, as we're looking at it, it's to the right up the top. It's to the right of the PM chyron there.
Right
up the
to the
top
right
of
of-
the screen.
Correct. Sorry.
If we could continue to play.
Occiput, I'm not putting that up on the screen.
What do you see?
So I see John giving Karen a kiss on the forehead.
Is that what you saw that night?
I did. I was looking right at them when it happened.
You were facing them.
I was facing them.
And what about Mr. Higgins? Where was he facing?
100%
It
get
appears
it,
that
Kimchi.
he's facing them as well.
That happened right in front of him.
That's what it looks like.
If we could play further.
And I was talking too much during that, so we're gonna go back here. We're gonna watch this because this is important. And I was talking.
Sorry.
If we could continue to play. Stop. What do you see?
So I see John giving Karen a kiss on the forehead.
Is that what you saw that night?
I did. I was looking right at them when it happened.
You were facing them.
I was facing them.
And what about Mr. Higgins? Where was he facing?
It appears that he's facing them as well.
That happened right in front of him.
That's what it looks like.
If we could play.
So, Higgins is sitting there, and Higgins has been like super hard up for Karen Reed and like super whatever. And then John O'Keefe kisses Karen Reed right in front of Higgins. Here's a reason why Higgins might be mad. Here's a reason why Higgins might be pissed off. Semi-hard at like at half mast. We'll go with that.
Play further.
Unetti did a really good job on this.
Okay, you can stop and we can take that down. Now,
So basically, what does she see? She sees John O'Keefe and Karen seem to really, really like each other. They seem to be doing, like, they seem to be just super affectionate. This is like the sweetest thing ever. And Higgins, who's sitting there angry and drunk and texting her, well, question mark, is having to sit there and watch her have these sweet moments with John O'Keefe. Could Higgins be pissed off about this? Yep. And then we're gonna get to a thing. Runkle, I love you and your podcast, but you're being studied. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. There's a moment here that was actually kind of sad, and it's going to be sort of how we end off, because really he got what he needed out of this. We're also going to cover the cross, which is real short, and we'll cover the end bit a little bit. So, yeah. I mean, I assume Karen must have like some sort of eye condition for thinking Higgins was hot. My timestamp may not be super exact.
Okay. When you can turn the lights back on.
Was it what was the thing there? I meant you're being an ass. Why am I being an ass? How am I being an ass? I don't know what I'm being an ass here. Fair. What is it? I saw somebody saying a thing and I wanted to pull it up here. Higgins was Mr. Right Now. He wasn't even Mr. Right Now. He was Mr. Maybe he was Mr. 5-second rule. Like, you know, he's not like the steak. He's the donut you just dropped and it didn't land in a puddle, but you're like, I'm still going to eat it. Yeah, but
When you were leaving the establishment, whom did you leave with?
So again, it was myself, Jennifer McCabe, and Karen.
Did anything unusual occur when you were leaving?
So as we were leaving, Jen went over to Karen, kind of put her arm around her, and she started saying, "You're coming with me, you're coming with me." And Karen's like, "Huh? Like, what? Like, where are we going?" And
I'm going to sustain the objection.
The first part of that answer,
I didn't even hear the objection, so
the putting her arm around her, "You're coming with me," why did that stand out in your memory?
just because I was there too, and it just was strange. It was just like, "You're coming with me." Like, it was just something that stood out to me.
You weren't included.
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, it was just stood out, you know?
um
It was just like, "You're coming with me." Like, it was just something that stood out to me.
You weren't included.
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, it was just stood out, you know? Yeah.
oh, my heart broke a little bit seeing that. You know, it's like, "You weren't included," and she's like, it's fine, it's fine." And I'm like, ooh, is she not like, I don't know what that's about, but I kind of feel like maybe she's not on the in group with the mean girls. And it's probably that she's not in the in group with the mean girls because she's actually a nice person. Yeah. But I guess the argument that Yanetti's trying to suggest here is that they're trying to separate Karen out. And yeah.
Did Karen go with Jen McCabe?
No, she did not.
What did you see her do?
So then, out of the clear blue, thinking that Karen was going to go with Jen, I see Karen with John.
And where did you see Karen with John?
I saw them just I was parked across Washington Street, across from the restaurant, and I just saw Karen and John like walking down towards what used to be Amber Road, a place.
It used to be Amber Road?
It used to be Amber Road, yeah.
Is that a Amber Road cafe?
Correct. It was like a restaurant. It was like a little cafe shop.
And did you figure out why they were walking in that direction?
That's where I think Karen had parked her car.
Did you have any concerns about Karen being able to drive that night?
I had talked to her all night, and I did not notice anything strange about her. Like, I didn't think anything of it.
She's like, I didn't think she was sauced. I did not, so yeah. Runkle, I found it interesting that she said her daughter was friends with Jen McCabe's daughter and is friends with John O'Keefe's niece. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting sphere here. I so wish John would have went home with Karen. Would have been a better, better result. All right, so let's go to where's the? I think the cross is just right away then.
And once you parted ways, where did you go?
I went in my car.
And what was your last image of seeing Karen and John that night?
It was just them walking towards the car.
If I may have a moment, Your Honor.
Okay.
Can I share something? I have the air conditioner running because it's too warm right now. But the air conditioner is there, and the air intake for the air conditioner is at the window right there. And Potter appears to have taken a very thorough shit right outside that window. And the reason why I say that is because we've got some low pressure. The wind is kind of, you get that sort of low pressure and suddenly all the smells come out. And it is blowing, it is blowing Potter poop smell right into the house. And so I'm just going to have to turn that off because Potter, you sumbitch. Once the stream is done, I'm going to have to go out there and I'm going to have to scoop that particular poop because, that is not good. I'm like, you suck, Potter. Yeah. All right, carrying on here. All right, so we're gonna watch the cross, and the cross is real short. Mr.
Brennan?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Was your last image of Karen and John, both of them walking to the car and Karen walking to the driver's side door of that car?
Correct.
That night it was a celebratory mood?
Correct.
Everybody was getting along fine?
Yes, we were. Yes.
You were speaking to the defendant for some time?
Most of the time, correct.
You saw her at points hugging Jen McCabe?
Correct.
You knew John.
I did.
He was a kind man?
Very kind.
Generous?
Very generous.
Thoughtful?
Very thoughtful.
Soft-spoken?
Yes.
That night was particularly different. He was extraordinarily proud and happy, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And you could see him emote about his accomplishment that his daughter got into private school.
Correct.
Did you talk to John that night?
I did.
No further questions. Thank you.
All right.
She's got this expression of like, where the hell was that going? The entire cross-examination of this witness is based on, isn't it true John O'Keefe was a great dude and that John O'Keefe, that this is tragic. He's basically just saying like, jury, you should convict because it's real sad. Like, it's real sad. That's it. That's the cross. So, yeah. Let's also cover the last little thing here before she tells the jury that they can go home.
It was about scheduling. I'm actually going to send you back to the room and bring it back. We will definitely be out of it by 1 o'clock, so a short, and if they could just, they could just go back for maybe 10 minutes and we'll bring you right back. So.
All rise for the court, please.
All right. Where's the, I don't have a timestamp for this moment because I just put at the end. And I didn't realize that the end had so much, dead space. So I just need to. Oh, wait, I think it's right here. Yeah. There's actually a really important thing that happens, and it's just at the end, and it's one sentence, and it's super important.
Jury's exit the court. Please be seated.
All right. Is there anything anybody needs to raise with me at this point?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
There is one outstanding motion. It's a motion for reconsideration.
It's denied. Okay. All right. I just saw that was the one that was still outstanding.
There is one outstanding thing, Judge. It's the motion for reconsideration. And she's like, yeah, that's denied. Now, you might be wondering, what motion is this? This was the motion to reconsider. And this is after the jury's been dismissed. Yep. This was the motion to reconsider the ability to call Michael Easter. That is the expert who was going to testify about police procedure and proper police investigation. Easter should absolutely be allowed to testify. And yes, she's like, we have an outstanding motion. She's like, it's denied. It's like, fuck. So yeah. So she tells the other thing we see is that, and I'm not going to go over it, but she tells the jury, we are so far ahead and tomorrow is going to be super warm, super hot. And so jury, rather than make you come in here and boil, because we're ahead of schedule, we're going to take tomorrow off so that you do not die. And I'm sure the jury is like, thank you. Because if it's a massively hot day, they probably don't want the jury to, hiccups. They don't want the jury to sit there cooking. So, yeah. All right. So, yeah, and Tide is noting, it's just going to get warmer as the days go more into summer. You're not wrong. All right, let's cover the remaining super chats here. And yeah, the world wonders. Moose are basically that big animated hag house on legs from Curse of Strahd. Yes, although that is a reference to Baba Yaga's hut. So, yes. Michigan Farm Boy. Bear's back is about the moose's knees. Deer's back close to moose belly. Mama moose with baby. Yep. Twisted 3,200 watching right now. Only 1,400 likes. Hit the like button on your way out because we're wrapping up shortly, but hit the like button. Shay B says, don't get between any mama and her baby. That is true, including with humans. Texas Katie did. Pharmacists are trained in diagnosing impairment. Okay, fair enough. Brennan certainly didn't want to take a shot at it. Cat in Virginia says, EDB said PDA is not common in Massachusetts. Fair. I was just thinking like Mrs. Runkle had the Girl Guides had a range day. They were out at the range. And so Mrs. Runkle was giving a ride back to a bunch of the Girl Guides. And she's like, come here, give me a kiss. It's like, all right, let's do that. So, the whole kiss on the forehead being a thing. I was like, wow. Driving range. it was pew pew range. So yep. Huh. That was I think a dog trying to get in. So yeah. All right. Billy's momzilla, a kiss on the forehead is affection. Yes. Nurse Thel, sending love from New Orleans to Runkle, mods in chat. One day I want to visit New Orleans. I've never been. And yeah, that it sounds like a pretty awesome place, honestly. So yeah. Potter wants to know if you got that thing he sent you. That was Zora. That was a Zora, and I'd let her in, except I suspect that probably means that Mrs. Runkle is probably right outside. So I'm not going to open the door because we might see Mrs. Dog has opinions. I'll just go peek in a second. Boston Colleen 6570. You rock, Runkle. Thanks for teaching me the term gutter muppet. I've used it quite often. You're welcome. Soko SLP. Just saw the best personalized plate today at Starbucks. Mortician with a bumper sticker saying last responder. Made me chuckle. Oof, that is funny. That's dark, but it's funny. Greg, something I took from Mrs. K's direct was that in the waterfall video, everyone seemed to look in Higgins' direction when he was making his gestures. Had me thinking maybe everyone noticed he was a bit off. Maybe. Greg says, Potter's in the living room laughing. You're not wrong. Stacy LeBruno for the hysterical poopness. Thank you. Maggie Beth, Potter's revenge for the vet visit. I'm just going to go have a little peek there. Just going to have a little look and see if Zora is right outside the door. I don't think I have any treats in here right now. Nope, no treats. My kid was just mugged in New Orleans a few days ago while visiting for the first time. Oof, that's rough. Let me just see. I'm gonna peek out. Zora. Nope, no Zora. All right. So, was it Kate Maybe says, Moose are scary, had a run-in driving to North Bay. Yep. I've seen video of a guy hitting a moose and then, what do you call it? The moose was fine, but proceeded to disassemble the person's vehicle. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. I think that's everything here. And, yeah, let's sort of wrap things up here. And oh, it's pronounced like the color teal. And yes, you'd love it here. I've never been, but I totally want to. I want to go and have like a big, crawfish boil. That looks to me like the absolute bee's knees. So, I probably want to avoid Mardi Gras, but I don't know when the best time to visit is. So. Oh, and just before we wrap, I gotta hit this. Michigan Farm Boy, that motion denial sounded a lot like, oh, you were serious about that. No. Also, Andrea had some thoughts. Defense should have set up questions with the police witnesses to lay foundation that they didn't know and follow their own policies. Yeah, that actually might have been helpful. Andrea is super smart. So, yeah. Mud bugs, no thank you. Runkle, are you planning to put in some food plots on the property? I planted some food plants, but I don't know. The deer might have eaten them before we get up there. But yeah, we'll we'll have a we'll see. I'm hoping some of them survive. I'm hoping that like the apple trees grow and all of that stuff. So all right. So let's wrap things up here, and I will see you guys not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. So if you want crawfish and stuff, April, May is the best, but if you want the best weather, probably October, November. I kind of want the crawfish. So yeah. Do I have water on my land? Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap up, and I will see you guys soon. Good night.